Nollaig thrial, mami agus daddy, oper bhun chria.
They say that the veil is thin here. The funeral songs we hum to ourselves from birth pass through easily. The songs change as hearts flower and loves flourish and fade. We fashion the lyrics and tease out the tunes, singing louder as we grow older, so that when the end comes, everyone has heard.
Anna Ayel Eribulach.
We sit in a volcano that is long dead, but the geometry of its cold heart is there to guide us, to reinforce our wisdom and help us understand our land.
The waiting became swollen with urgency. People looked to the sky for clouds, as in times past but on different continents. Rain would make everything normal again. Safe again.
They hoped the storybook clouds that teased them would power with thermal upthrusts into towering thunderheads carrying promised floods. But each dawn held an awakening danger of another day of menacing familiarity.
Chanair ma Gundrag.
The land has regained its swagger as the drenching curtain straightened its back and quenched its earthy, alcoholic thirst.
Is jaar nan tot skial inche chor. Like a surgeon's table, she had all the answers laid out before her. She knew it was simply a matter of life or death.
She could go and watch the river or sea for the mother wave, search the darkness for an unknown star or the skies for the coming storm.
Is trí go bheoh srad Vic mór.
She fell into a silent world, isolated and imprisoned inside her skull. But in her silence she watched the world move, the ebb and flow of tides, the sun's rising and setting, the moon arcing into the night sky, the constellations slowly rotating. The movements became her music.
Through her deafness, the silence parted as she began to hear the noises of the moving universe, so loudly that she was filled with a never-before-felt joy as she danced to the sun.
A chuasach as an átrich, she is ard a hogus a ceann.
In the shade of decay, the roses flourished in the best way unnoticed, the red blooms bursting into life without the shadow of opinion.
Ishar lan an durm, de gerst na lan an durm a gyor.
Sheep always straight-eye you before they move on. Accusing stares letting you know that you have disturbed their day. They are insolent in the moment before doubt transmits through the flock and they scatter.
A tuamh na mara le cleomh. Washed up on the shore, the tin church had been repaired many times. Tarred patches held it together.
But as the congregations and the congregations lost their strength, the metal buckled and the wooden stays could only save it from collapse, as structure and belief sagged towards their foundations.
Ha mínas jólacha cullle na bhí fó ical na cailleachaiche.
The owl came back last night, made its presence known once, maybe twice, as she drifted to sleep imagining him, following the poem's chart.
coasting out of the moonlight, scattering the minuscule bones and black muck of last night's pellet, his breaking talons sending a skeletal shiver into the darkness below.
Barnsavi and Dishke Salnistonia.
We have quietly moved into autumn. It is the first day of September with a morning warmth that is suddenly unexpected, almost unseemly.
The damselfly summer is ended. Today there is no frenzy over the smooth water, only a silent breath agitating the grass heads, and for a moment a lone bee touching on purple scabious.
Is man na hjóin thar an ginter iad.
Just out of sight, over the hill, you can hear the shinty boys. Their shouts of joy and frustration blend into the breeze. They are young, their voices clear and loud. Like their forebears, they prepare for battle as they play. Like their forebears, they are too young to know or greatly care what lies ahead.
Airy town le ushke balav. The spumes from below blended with the mists above, and 17 cormorants leant together into the murk, puzzling their world at exactly the same angle.
I geven toverig likkig en uur is aarde
At point where
the river winded, the water became lethargic, circled an elbow in the far bank, depositing a floating table of leaves, stalks and seed heads, a gently rotating pause, waiting for the final seaward flood.
Brich galine slaat de gulje is vieige virg. Merle nach de gaaf, dunjer hief naar ijsje.
A full moon will rise tomorrow night. It will enter its dark stage, behind a curtain of cloud, or spotlit with the Milky Way as its backdrop.
With luck, moonlight will flood the trees and throw shadows that will both frighten and entrance amongst the stars. Only our one moon can trigger lunacy and spark wonder on the same clear night.
Get is een tui ganje woontje.
The high intensity of the low autumn sun brought a Cézanne palette of greens and blues to the riverside path, and a moving mercury swell to the sea beyond.
The night, the breeze that blew in with the incoming tide played around the lower trunks of the great beeches, agitating the drapes of hanging leaves that wafted around like ancient ghosts, agitating curtains once drawn against winter's chill.
A laird's flunky and his dog. These are the two one should not spare.
They picked up from one another, composing a score of their bellows that moved around the bowl of hills in the low October sunstreams.
The roars of the Rud moved through the air, an opera of guttural bass notes and deep-throated outcries. The stags themselves motionless, their skyline silhouettes striking poses of challenge and rivalry.
Stulich Camel or Shatarik Hugas and Salmaya. It's hard to take the twist out of the oak that grew in the sapling.
As the days passed, the cattle took less notice of the children. As those days passed, the children still stayed aware. As they moved around them, complacency could get you hurt. That's what their Shenever told them.
They didn't really understand what complacency meant, but they knew, be careful, stay watchful.
The cows were friendly, the children watchful.
As long as things stayed that way, everything would be just fine.
Is Crayon Cherach aan zijn kunter na fukikin?
Old
Ways
ways
spread new ways, the roots fed the branches. When things moved on, others were left behind. It didn't mean it was all over. It didn't mean they had no use. It was just that it would be harder, at least for a while. The tendrils would split rock if necessary. The thing was to survive. First step to last step.
Tachri na dúine ach a tachar na cnúich.
All around the sand was patterned. Footprints, paw prints, bird prints large and bird prints small and delicate. Tire tracks running down the tubular eruptions of razor shells, alongside the etched scrapings of seaweed, fanning around their anchors in the slowly receding waves.
Is Jimbuan gach cas tír guniolas.
At the water's edge, far distant in the new moon tide, a lone cormorant raised and lowered its wings in a slow semaphore.
Gently messaging the world that the marks of man would soon be washed away.
Fleeting is the foot in a strange land.
There's a lot of folk been lost over the years that I think would have been a great part of this little project, and loved what Mum and Dad have done with their poetry and pictures and bringing it all together. So just to name them all, because they've been very much in my thoughts through this whole process and figuring out how we could incorporate them. And then a very special lady landed the very thing right on my knee by sending me some pictures. So just obviously in kind of Christmas memory of Anne Macmillan, John Macmillan, Stuart Macmillan, young John Macmillan, Leslie Macmillan, Davy Thornton, Beryl Thornton and Catherine Scott, forever in our thoughts.
Is ma na Hiowen far na inkter gidet.
The land has regained its swagger since the drenching cotton.
She fell into the night sky.
The lands, I can't do it now. She's just there with that sprout heat on. I knew this was going to happen. See, she was there with that sprout heat.
The land has regained its swagger.
Merry Christmas, Marjorie and Andy. Merry Christmas, Marjorie and Andy.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Feliz Navidad. Spero años.
Guys, Mission Control here, just to give the credits and the thanks due to everybody who helped pull this together. So we'll start with Fergus Hetherington, who did the music and very, very kindly got the keys for the Macintosh Church so that we could film some bits of Holly doing her readings. Then we had the family that took part. So we had Erin and Debbie, Laura, Lewis and Jennifer, Richard, Sinead, Sophie and Joshua, and of course Holly herself. And then the massive group of friends that all came together to do bits and pull this together for you. So we've got Alan Nicholson, Amber Miller, Anusha Heaney, Davy Walker, Dale Heaney, Donnie Marut, Hamish Hamilton, Jana Atkinson, Cara Caldwell, Karen Caldwell and Kayla Caldwell, MG Graham, Natalie Price, Pauline Hamilton and Tom Hamilton. You've all been amazing, and I think most of you have really enjoyed being part of it. Karen, a massive special thanks to you for getting me out of a hole at the last minute. I really didn't think I'd have enough hours in the day to get it together. So thank you, and Nolla Thiel Gaivula. Nolla Thiel, Mami agus Daddy agus tain fór son an leor seo.